another review of Friends and Family Hustle Season 3, Episode 7. And of course, your girl's a little late, but don't judge me. Charge it to the game and not my heart, okay? But if you missed the episode, don't worry. Myself as well as my friends over at bkworldtube.com have you covered. You can catch the episode online as well as other series like Growing Up Hip Hop and so much more. I will leave a link down below to bkworldtube.com in the description box, plus links to my previous reviews so you can get all caught up on Season 3 of Friends and Family Hustle. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Episode 7, I really wanted them to start off to pick back up on the conversation between Latoya and Tommy, but of course they didn't. We start the episode off with Toya and Red. They're at a petting farm, and in this particular scene, Red, he shares how he's been talking to Toya's dad, Walter, and Walter told him how he wanted to come down and visit them in Atlanta. Toya, she thinks it's a wonderful idea for her dad to come to town. Plus, they can use that as a moment to have their housewarming, because we know that her and Red, they recently purchased a house together. So that was the opening scene, and then we flash over to a scene with T.I. He's driving in the car with Major and King, and we're just talking about music pretty much. And King, he shares how he really wants to push his music career a little bit further. We could tell King, he's pretty much in school, because that's kind of like what Tiny and T.I. is forcing him to do, like be in school at this point. But if it was up to King, he'll be a full-time musician and he'll pursue his music full-time. And King, he just talks about how he'll prefer to, like, you know, go out on the weekday and do some shows in different cities. And T.I., he's pretty much like, you know, your music at this point isn't generating the revenue that it needs to be, and ultimately kind of like the profit and loss, we're not gaining any money ultimately to send you out on the road during weekdays with the tutor and things of that nature. So T.I.'s like, you know, let's just do weekend shows, and once you gain more momentum, more revenue with your music, then we can see about going out on the road. But then this leads into a bet between T.I. and King of seeing how many people King can get to one of his shows on a weeknight, a school night ultimately. And King says he could pretty much sell 300 tickets. He could get 300 bodies in the place. So that kicks off a bet between T.I. and King. And we flash forward to another scene with Monica. Monica, she meets with one of her team members, and she's just talking her album prep for her album titled Chapter 38. And in this particular scene, she's going over some of her previous album and single covers, and she's just talking about how some of the album covers she didn't like them, but she kind of wants a different vibe and a different approach for this new album Chapter 38, because we know for year 38 so much has happened for her. So she's gearing up for her album project. And then we flash over to a scene with T.I. and Tiny, and in this particular scene, Tiny, she's just letting Tip know, like, you know, you're being a little too unfair for King. Like 300 people on a school night, like that's too much. And T.I., he's telling her to pretty much like, you know, Tamika, stay out of it, stay back. King is manipulating you, like he's coming, running, telling you about this bet. Meanwhile, it was King's idea to get 300 people. I didn't throw out that number. King said he could get 300 people, so I'm gonna let him do what he do. And Tiny, she's just still not here for it. She still feels like it's unfair, because she's like, you know, in the end, I'm still gonna have to help him make this thing become a thing, like get this show together. And you know, T.I., he tells Tiny, you know, King is manipulating you. Like he has a way. Don't let him manipulate you. Stay out of it. We still gonna do this bet regardless of what you say. And then we flash forward to a scene with Toya and her mom, Nita. Nita comes over to Toya's house, and they talk about the recent trial that went down where the killer, the guy that murdered Rudy and Josh, you know, of course he got 2 life sentences. But you know, Nita, she just talks about how she went to the grave site, and she just was sober since, and she's been doing so well. And you know, Toya, you know, she's proud of her mom for not relapsing or anything, because we know Nita has had a history with drug abuse. And in this particular scene, Toya, she lets her mom know that she's thinking about doing a housewarming, and she would love for her to come. But the thing is, her dad will be there, and she's just trying to make sure her mom is okay with her dad being there, because we know Walter had like 21 kids. I'm not sure how many of his kids are all Nita's on, but clearly he was cheating or whatever, because we know Walter was sticking and moving, honey. So Nita, she's like, we fine, we could be in the same place. We talk to each other, and every time he talked to me, that's why he still want to have sex with me. Like, it's all good. But that was that scene with Toya and her mom letting her know about the housewarming. And then we flash over to another scene. Toya, she's meeting with Tiny and LaToya, and they're just talking and chatting, catching up on things. LaToya, she talks about how things are still rocky in her marriage with Tommy, and they talk about the counseling and just hope and pray that things will get better. And then, of course, Toya, she lets the girls know about her upcoming housewarming, so they're gearing up for that as well. And in some quick scenes, we see T.I. and King, they're meeting back up, and King, he talks about which cities he would like to do a show in, and talks about how he kind of pretty much came to this conclusion to do things like Houston, maybe Chicago, Atlanta, from his Instagram analytics. And so we see that they're gearing up for that. And then Monica, she meets with the rest of her team to do some more album prep. And of course, she's thinking about pushing the album back. She's decided to push the album back, but now she's like, do I need to call this chapter 38? Because I'm about to be 39 in no time. And they're pretty much like, keep the album name as chapter 38, because even if you release it at age 39, chapter 38, a lot happened in that year for you. You hit a lot of major moments in your life with going through a divorce and things of that nature. So it's still all right to move forward with calling the album chapter 38. And then we see a quick scene with King and Zanique. They're going to meet with T.I. King, he's starting to second guess himself. He's like, okay, 300 people on a weeknight is kind of like a lot. Maybe I need to try to do 250. But we know T.I., he's like, we're going to stick it to the 300. And I don't really think 300 kids on a weeknight is probably unheard of, especially if they try to do a show like Atlanta. Because if you know anything about Atlanta's nightlife, it goes up any time of the year, any day. It does not matter. So I feel like a kid concert, King could definitely get 300 kids on a weeknight with the right promotion. And then we flash over to a scene with Toya at her house. Her dad Walter actually arrives, and in this scene we could just tell Toya, she's just like a kid in the candy store. She's so happy to see her dad. You can tell she really wants that father-daughter relationship with her dad. And Reginae, of course, in this scene too, she's like, Toya house is boring. Like, my house is a turn-up house. Y'all gotta come over there. But just this moment between Toya and her dad, it just goes to show like the importance of having a strong, solid relationship, like between the parent and the child, or the parent and the children. So that was the scene. Walter is in town, and they're getting. And a little later on in the episode, to close the episode pretty much, it is Toya's housewarming. Everyone comes over there enjoying everything. We actually see Red's mom, his parents, and Nita, she actually does not arrive on time. So Toya is thinking that she's not coming. And in this scene, we learn that Monica's son, Rocco, he had a seizure. So Monica, she's just having a heart-to-heart moment with the ladies, just saying like, that was a scary moment for her and for her family, because her kids are her world, her life. So just imagine like if something happened to one of her kids, she's not complete. And then she was just thinking about, Rocco was supposed to go on a field trip, but he didn't go on the field trip, and he actually had the seizure at home. So she was just thankful, like, imagine if my son was away during this time. So she was just having that little mommy moment. And you could tell Monica's all about her kids, honey. She don't play about her kids. And then also too, Toya, she just goes on with her housewarming, and then eventually Nita arrives. Toya mom arrives, and Nita is on 10, honey. Nita is lit. She a little drunk. Toya, she's kind of embarrassed, because she's like, oh Lord, I don't want Red's parents, I don't want his folks to pretty much see my mom like this. And I can understand, like, you don't want Nita to backtrack. She was doing so good, you don't want her to backtrack. But as far as like trying to be clean cut in front of his parents, like, it's okay. Like, his parents should already know what's up. They probably already know, like, your upbringing, your family story isn't, perfect or whatever. So they should be able to accept Nita for who she is. So Toya, she's like, Nay, get your grandma, like take her somewhere, like get her out of the public eye, honey, like take her on to the back. So that was pretty much episode 7. Not too much really happened in this episode. It was definitely kind of like a filler episode. But of course, you guys can check it out online at bkworld2.com. You guys comment below and let me know your thoughts on the episode. Be sure to thumbs up this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys take care, and I'll see you next time.